Good morning and God bless. Let me share this with you before we get to work. I came down here and there you go. Here's a smile ticket. And you might be wondering, well, how did I get a smile ticket? It's not mine, it's my son's. So he uses the computer setup we have here for gaming, and he puts his stuff here. And when we talk about remembrance, when we talk about a reason to have your soul smile, I can sense his energy and his essence when I come here because I can see him here behaving as little G, as I call him. And what prompted him to leave this here, I don't know. I'm sure it wasn't strategic. He probably just had it in his pocket and dismissed it. But the beauty of it, having the type of connection that I'm sure we all have in some capacity that allows your soul to smile, is I wonder what he did to get a smile ticket. I wonder how he felt when he received the smile ticket. Did it make him smile? Now, to make a really long story short, my son is very introverted and he is an Aquarius. So he doesn't quite like stage attention. So it makes me think about what he must have felt like when he got the ticket. Not embarrassed, but probably sort of like, give me my ticket and let me get off stage. So God bless. I hope you're having a great day. Let us work. If it gave you options, smile or frown, frown or smile. If it gave you options, it was never obedience. Warning. This transmission exposes infected progress. You thought you were focused. You thought you were driven. You thought your ambition was holy because your goals were clean. But what if the spirit behind them was not? What if it was fear dressed like purpose? What if the motion you're in was initiated by a memory God never gave you? Side effects may include obsession with progress but allergic to peace, constantly refining the plan but never feeling closer to God, root, source, goals that shift weekly depending on what scared you last. Welcome to Raw for Epoch 2, day 128. You didn't just choose the path, you chose the pilot. And today, we're checking who's flying your mission, the angel or the alien. Let's get into our concept overview. The angel apex versus the alien apex. What do you think about when you hear alien? I go back to the movie. I think of Sigourney Weaver. Things were ugly, right? Here's what you'll learn. Why the angel apex is sealed, singular, and system aligned. We're iterating here. This should be, and you should sense a theme. How the alien apex mimics progress by multiplying your options. Why ambition without remembrance leads to emotional drift. How spiritual misalignment can still produce results, but without peace. Why fear is still spirit. It just wears the wrong uniform. Let's get into our visual metaphor for the day. Imagine this. Immerse yourself, close your eyes, and leave one open if it makes you feel better. I did that yesterday when I watched myself. I know. You're on a plane with a clear destination. You trust the pilot. You trust the path. So you relax. Now imagine this. Halfway through the flight, 4 new pilots walk into the cockpit. You're looking up. What is going on here? One wants to detour for speed. One wants to land early. One suggests a shortcut. And one wants to loop the flight forever. So you just feel like you're flying. That's what happens when you let the alien apex take over. It multiplies drivers, fractures focus, and makes momentum look holy. That's scary, right? I don't know what I would do. I freak out. You're already in the air. You're already moving fast. You've already elevated. Here's my personal perspective. We talk about apex like it's optional. It is not. Everybody's got one. Even if you don't know what you're aiming at, something in you is still climbing. The only real question is who's coded your coordinates? And that is what hit me. I think this is unique to me. The angel apex versus the alien apex. We're talking about what's at the top. In Kabbalistic theory, the angel has a limit. One mission, one message, one move. We've talked about this. Because spirit by design is directional. It does not scatter. It seals. So if I step into my angel form, if I operate from spirit instead of flesh, I can't help but move singularly. That's the difference, right? Not oneness. We got to eliminate that thought. Singular. And singular ain't isolation. It's concentrated obedience. It's many parts locked into one outcome. Mind, body, spirit, system. Have you heard me say that before? But it's all aimed at the same apex. But when that apex is alien, Sigourney Weaver, it's still spirited. It is still spirited, just fractured. And that's what we forget. The alien apex is still spirit-led, still divine in origin, still created by God, by root, by source. The devil is an angel, just disobedient. So what happens when you obey the alien? It'll give you options. It'll give you variety. It'll give you goals that look unique, but all of them are coded in the same fear. And you'll confuse that spread with strategy. You'll call it creativity. You'll post it and say it's clarity, but it's just fragmentation with a filter. And I had to sit with that. Because if your apex is alien, then everything you manifest, from your marriage to your mission to your money, will be outcome driven, and you may even get all of it, but it'll be rootless. Don't get it twisted. You can be an angel janitor, sweeping and mopping floors, cleaning bathrooms. You can be an alien CEO. The role doesn't define your apex, your spirit does. That's what the 4 R's remind us of on the Y.O.U rules, right? The seal is what matters, not the title. And when we forget that the alien is still a spirit, that fear is still fueled by faith, just in the wrong thing. We stop seeing God in the dysfunction. We treat infected spirits like foreign enemies, but sometimes your demon just speaks better than your angel. And that's when wars break out in our minds, in our houses, in our bloodlines, because we forgot. The apex ain't just about where you are going. It's about what is driving you there. We're going to get into our Black Book system teaching, but let's check the chat at 4:10 on a I almost said Monday. I think it's Thursday. We talked in great detail yesterday about how the mind can only be in one place at a time, even if you're in many places at one time. That is effectively guided by your apex. Dominion divide, the control you seek when it is angel apex driven. It is systemically aligned in a singular purpose. I don't have Or you could have many, many goals, but the reality is there's one overarching goal with many micro movements and micro goals that lead towards the ultimate pendulum swinging in the favor of life that you seek. Alien, apex, and consciousness are many different fractured, high level, macro goals, and you never really figure out the micro detail. And that is the devil's greatest disguise, right? Or the devil's greatest trick. It's as if he doesn't exist. And he really doesn't. We manifest it. We've talked about that before. But a lot of where we get fractured, and it's worth repeating day after day until we appreciate the singular direction. You are singularly driven in multiple ways when the alien attaches itself to you. That's how we get fragmented. That's the busyness alert we talked about. That is when you cannot focus in on the overarching premise and the goals that lead and the subsequent path that leads to that goal. That is what this is. That is how we now, if you want to create a label and you want to align with it in a way that makes some sort of logical sense, there's the angel and the alien. Let's get into the system teaching. The apex consciousness split. Consciousness doesn't drift, it obeys. And every obedience has a spirit behind it. Though your brain can entertain thousands of signals, your consciousness holds only one apex at a time. So that thought that you are holding, if it is not congruent, then you are fractured. And it tries to now realign itself real time on that new apex. That apex becomes your proving ground. I talked about the book, The Prometheus Ring. Man, it has some exercises in there that'll. What the thinker thinks, the prover proves. Your subconscious is not passive. It builds, it filters, it reinforces. And it will construct your reality to match your apex, angel or alien. The angel apex equates to, equals singular alignment. This is spiritual integrity in motion. You may think many things, but they all report to one mission. That's the beauty too. Don't stop thinking many things. Just think many things along the same route. One memory, one route. When you do that, even subconscious thoughts, which is what you want, begin organizing towards that seal. That's what makes it system aligned. You're not finding purpose. You're operating from it. Massively, massively, massively important. There's consequences that we'll get into, but we're going to talk about the angel apex, the alien apex in a moment. But if you can align your conscious, we talked about that being 5% of your allotment towards how you move towards life. The other 95%, when you are so hyper-focused in that 5% and you're in that creative spirit, that angel spirit, your default, your subconscious, we talked about how you start to react and you build and you create and you make manifest. Your subconscious begins to align itself, which is what you want because you release. We talk about surrendering, relinquishing, submitting. You got to do all those things because you can't be in control of everything as much as you might want to. But when I can control the controllables, what I can't control starts to more or less align with me because my subconscious, which is helping me create, the collective consciousness, which is all around me, the thinker thinks, the prover proves. You'll start to, without even attempting to, your subconscious will start to feed you into your conscious everything that aligns with your angel apex. That is why goals and a priority towards a level of attainment for yourself. You want to be great at something. You do. I don't care what it is. We don't need a specific title. That's why I said the janitor, they can absolutely have an angel apex. And the CEO can be derived from the alien if it's not rooted. You want to be goal-oriented in a singular direction. It is the most purposeful thing you can do for your life. You stay committed. You stay disciplined and focused. When you do that, your subconscious follows. Your subconscious, we talk about, it's not emotion driven. It will follow what you tell it. The reality is you're somewhere in your life where it's been following another path, probably the alien for some time. It takes a little while. Let's talk about the alien apex. The fractured proof loops. This is fear in disguise. It mimics progress by multiplying possibilities. You feel like you're executing, but you are just exploring. Your subconscious becomes a fragmented taskmaster, constantly validating unsealed direction as opportunity. In that way, you aren't manifesting results from remembrance. You're achieving outcomes through emotional drift. And drift looks a lot like drive when you don't know the difference. Ambition without remembrance is emotional malware. It runs without crashing. It even produces results. But the peace is gone. The memory is gone. The spirit is off. Because the alien apex can deliver reward, but never rest. Fear is still a spirit, my beautiful people. It came from the same God. It just wears the uniform of urgency instead of clarity. And when you follow fear, your system begins to serve a copycat commander while calling it divine. Here's the final truth. Your apex is not a preference. It's a proof path. And the spirit behind it will always leave a system trail. There are consequences of inaction. Let's check the chat before we get in that. What's the trail you're leaving consciously? What is the trail you are leaving consciously? The breadcrumbs. The alien is scooping them up. If you don't audit your apex, you'll scale faster but shrink spiritually. You'll mislabel motion as mission. You'll confuse exhaustion with execution. You'll burn offerings on altars God never built. And worst of all, you'll reach your goals and still feel unchosen. That is how we go hollow. That is how we lose substance. That is how we conform. The greatest cowardice of man is conformity. Here's how to lock daily remembrance. Pause your progress. Ask yourself this. Was this apex authored by God or just amplified by fear? Yo, let me make something clear that I don't think has been obvious yet. Some of us have an obvious apex that's elevated, and some of our apexes are blocked and limited. We don't have a broad apex. So we see a mountain that is like a project building tall when you could be building a skyscraper. It's still high, but you're limited. That's also alien driven too. That somehow you stop reaching for the sky as if the sky is too far up. You have a limited apex. You put a ceiling, a cap. That's fear. In fact, if you can look up and think you can see your apex, you probably need to go a little bit higher. We're talking about how to lock daily remembrance. Burn the blueprints that don't bring peace. If it multiplies your anxiety, it was never obedience. Why are you anxious about your goals? Why are you anxious about your path outside of maybe the unknown? You can fear the unknown. That's natural. You can fear what you've never done and understand this is different. But you shouldn't be anxious about walking the path. You shouldn't be anxious about the work required. That's something that I'm just like flabbergasted by. It stuns me. So we don't want to do the work. You probably don't want to do the work because you're on the wrong apex. That's how you strive towards a career and you strive towards the boardroom. And when you get there, you're like, yo, this is what this was. You shouldn't be anxious about what you're striving for. What are you anxious about? What's the anxiety for? Why are you concerned with the work required? You shouldn't even think about the work required. Fly singular. Every spirit has direction. Make sure yours has clearance from the source. We all got a message. What is the source telling you? What is the source, man? In your soul, what is it telling you? Let's get into our phone tap. ARR, Creation Covenant Loop. Audit, remix, re-record. You got the call. Now move like it is recorded. We start with an audit. Emotional memory, recall, identity. Ask yourself, when was the last time you moved from panic instead of peace? Recall the moment. What emotion launched that decision? Was it urgency? Fear of being forgotten? Proving something to someone? That is alien coded memory. Name it. Don't sugarcoat it. Then you want to hit it with the remix. This is how we identify the thought, right? What belief system did that motion come from? Identify the thought that governed it. I'll lose momentum if I stop. If I don't do this now, I'll fall behind. I have to show them I'm not a fraud. Each thought proves allegiance to an apex. Rewrite the thought. It's not I must build fast, but I only build what was sealed in silence. I was getting some feedback on journaling. And one of the things I was told was this: write down what you hesitated on. That is more significance than what actually makes it into paper and into the ether. It's significant because the reflex is part of what you are programmed subconsciously. Don't mitigate that. Don't dismiss it. We talk about burying things. Don't compress that. Sit down. You don't have to be fast with everything. What comes to you in silence? Express it, if even only to yourself. What is the immediate reaction? Write it as it comes out. Be all the way raw with yourself. And the whispers you receive in silence will change. Presuming they should, or that you want them to. But really significant. What hits you right away? Boom, just say it. Then you want to re-record. This is our action identity. Choose one action today that aligns with your angel apex. 1, not 2, not 7. 1. Delete one mimic goal. Decline one unsealed opportunity, or take one bold step forward in the direction that feels boring but spirit approved. Your spirit doesn't need applause, it needs alignment. You know you're on the path that will get you to the angel apex when you reach a moment where it feels mundane, where it feels monotonous. There's this ruthless aggression towards being in the middle, always staying centered and understanding there is a long way to go, no matter how long you've come. This is so much deeper than some motivational mantra, not needing an applause, not needing to speak about it, not needing to say it, just to be it, not to perform it. There's such a significant difference. When you are aligned and you are moving from your root source, you are spirit approved. It doesn't require anything else but what you said you would do. And if you're gonna build a force field of go fuck yourself in a way that is applicable towards positivity and growth, it's to just move and whatever comes your way, just deflect. You want to deflect that, bounce that off your energy force. Excuse me, I didn't ask for your opinion. Excuse me, you're in my way. Excuse me, I'm going regardless. And what you are seeking will find you, right? Seek and thee shall find. But you got to seek and you got to stay spirited in the same direction. And in the same way, when you reach a point where it feels like you can't come up with rationale, that's when you feed into your spirit. Your spirit reminds you, don't worry, keep going. Your apex reveals your allegiance. Angel or alien, it ain't about speed. It is about spirit source. You own it or be owned by it. You either run the system or the system runs you. Change your mind, change your life. I am who I say I am. Do you and stay rich.